All right. So what is actually, we start now, inshallah, bismillah. Today we are going to look into factorizing and expanding. Okay, let's check it out. Now, the first basic skill that you must have in your maths is actually expanding one bracket. I would say the rule, you have to be able to know these 4 rules here. When we have a bracket, please be aware of the sign outside the bracket. So as a summary, we have a positive sign outside the bracket, and then inside the bracket, if we have a positive, so the final answer, it is going to be a plus or a positive. Okay, rule number 2, you got a plus or a positive sign inside of your, outside of your bracket. And then inside of your bracket is actually a negative sign. So the answer, final answer, you will have, when you expand the bracket, you will have a negative. Yeah. And then negative, inside bracket positive, a negative as well. And then a negative, outside the bracket, inside the bracket, a negative, you have a positive. What do I mean by this? Now, for example, we have number 1 here. If we have number 3 and then we have inside the bracket 6, yeah? So if you don't see any negative sign, what does it mean? It means that this number 3 is actually a positive 3. It's a positive 3. There you go. And then also inside the bracket, if there is no sign, negative sign, automatically we know this is actually a positive 6. So your final answer is going to be a positive, okay? And then how to open up the bracket is very simple. This number 3, okay, bracket meaning multiplied by. So 3 multiplied by a 6. So 3 multiplied by a 6 equals to 18. Okay, so that is easy enough. So normally we don't put the sign here, we just say 18. Also here we don't put, yeah? But originally that is actually the sign. Now let's have a look at number 2 here. We got 8 and then inside the bracket is actually a minus 5. So what do you mean by this? Meaning that we have a positive 8 multiplied by, bracket means multiplied by a minus 5. So remember the second rule here, a positive and a minus, so you will have a minus here. So that's where we got the minus for the answer. So 8 multiplied by 5 would be 40. So the answer is minus 40. Normally we don't, okay, we don't put the plus sign in front of it. So we can say that 8 and then inside the bracket minus 5. So when you want to expand, meaning you open up the bracket, the answer is a minus 40. Okay, let's check it out. Number 3 here. We got a minus 6 and then inside the bracket 100. So automatically we know this is actually there is a positive sign, although it's not written. Okay, so we use rule number 3 here, a minus and a plus, minus and a plus. So the answer would be a minus sign. 6 multiplied by 100, 600. There you go. So normally we don't write the plus sign inside, yeah? So we got a minus 6 and then a bracket 100, meaning minus 6 multiplied by 100. You got a minus 600. And then lastly, we have a minus 11 here. Inside the bracket minus 8. So use rule number 4. A minus and a minus, we got a plus. There you go, plus there. 11, yeah, 11 multiplied by 8 will be 88. But like I said before, normally a plus sign, we don't write it down, we just say 88. So that is actually the example of using your rules, the 4 rules that we have there. Now, of course, in your IGCSE level, of course, the question is not going to be as easy as this, yeah, definitely. So this is just an example, of course. But do you know that a very simple example, if you really know what you're doing, you can do any difficult question, inshallah, yeah? Okay, let's have a look at the practice. So these are actually the question that you might get in your IGs or in your school test or whatever, or part of a question in your IGCSE. Now let's check it out. How do we do number 1? Okay. This is number 2, so we know this is actually a +2. Okay, and then we got a plus sign also inside the bracket, so I'm not concerned about that. So I'm just checking. Now what do we need to do? So we have 2 things inside the bracket. So I'm just going to highlight this with a yellow color. So what do you need to do? All right, 2, you have to multiply it by 4a. In front is actually a positive, so it's a positive 4a. So we're just going to focus on that, yeah, the one in yellow. So 2 times 4a would be 8a. There you go. And then this plus sign automatically. Why? I mean, it doesn't mean that we have to follow this plus sign. Okay, we don't have to follow that. Then you don't have to, I mean, this plus sign will not follow wrong, yeah? So what do we need to do? Once we did this, okay, we're just going to undo that. Just going to delete this. And then I'm just going to undo this. I'm just going to focus on the second number, which is a +5. You see? This is the correct way of thinking actually in your maths. Now we can use any one of the rule, yeah? A plus in front of 2 and then a plus in front of 5. So that's why this is actually a plus. You see? 2 times 5 equals to 10. There you go. So the answer is actually 8a plus 10. All right, let's have a look quickly. Number 2, same thing. We have to highlight number -8 here. Use the same color. So the one that which is actually highlighted by your yellow here. So we're just going to focus the number outside the bracket. Now, what do we need to do? Okay, what is actually the first term inside the bracket is actually 3x. So there's no minus sign, so we have to assume it's actually a positive. So we can use the rule just now. What rule? The one that we did just now. So a minus and a positive. So it would be a minus. Okay. And then 8 times 3 would be 24x. There you go. Then we focus on the second number. Focus on the second number now, which is a +3. You see how I did it? The sign in front is actually, okay, following the number. So this is how we see we use this rule just now. You see it? A minus and a plus and a minus. So for this case, we got a minus and a plus there. So automatically, now we know it should be a minus. There you go. So 8 times 3 will be 24 as well. So in other words, our answer will be -24x minus 24. Just keep it that way. Okay, let's try to do this quickly. Okay, 5 times 6y is actually 30y. 5 multiplied by a -2 would be a -10. Now you know what to do. Now you know the rule. We can do it very quickly. Okay, let's open up the bracket very quickly. -20 times 8 minus 160. -20 times -4a becoming a plus 80a. You see, I'm doing it quickly at the same time carefully. Okay, please be aware of the sign. So you got a minus sign and minus sign there becoming a plus. Okay, quickly, x times x, x squared. Okay, this is x squared, yeah? X squared. All right. And then x multiplied by a -4, that would be a minus 4x. I'm just going to make it bigger. So the answer is x squared minus 4x. Okay, number 6, minus. It's just a minus here. What do you mean by minus? Okay, originally we have a 1, number 1. But what happened is that we don't write the number 1, but there is a number 1 there. So this is actually a minus 1. So a minus 1 multiplied by x would be a minus 1x, except that we don't write that 1. So it's becoming minus x. Minus 1 multiplied by a minus 5. There we go. There we have a plus 5. You can delete this here. Okay, there you go. Next, 4x multiplied by 2x. That will be 8. We can do this very quickly. Squared. All right. It's going to I will do it afterward. 4x multiplied by a minus 3. That will be a minus 12x. So the answer is 8x squared minus 12x. We can do this very quickly. Minus 7x multiplied by 7. That will be a minus 49, sorry, 49x. A minus 7x multiplied by a minus 5x. Minus will be plus. There you go. 7 times 5x would be 35x. You can have a look at the video later, okay, to get a better understanding of this. Shaa Allah, I would advise people just to look back the lesson that we did today here. And then let's have a look at number 9. 2x times 4, that will be 8x. Somebody is trying to answer. No need to. Okay, no problem. Okay. 2x times 4 will be 8x. And then 2x times positive 3x will be a positive 12x squared. Okay. And then 2x times a minus 5, that would be a minus 10x. There you go. So this is a square here. I will put a square here. All right. Bismillah. So the answer is 8x plus 12x squared minus 10x. And then lastly, we have this. Remember, when we have a minus outside the bracket, it means a minus 1. There you go. A minus 1 multiplied by a 7a, that will be a minus 7a. You see how easy this is. A minus 1 multiplied by a minus 3x becoming a positive 3x. And then a minus 1 multiplied by a minus 1 becoming a plus or a positive 1. So the answer is minus 7a plus 3x minus, plus 1. Okay. All right. Good, yeah. So this is on expanding. So let's check it out. I will give another 5 minutes for our maths. Okay, let's have a look at, because since we are doing factorizing as well. So we're just going to talk about simple factorization for 5 minutes, inshallah. Then we can have a look at our lesson for chemistry. Let's have a look. What are actually the rules? We have 3 rules here. This is my rule, okay? So what do you need to do first? First, you have to identify common factors. Number 2, write the common factors outside the bracket. Number 3, write everything else inside the bracket. So this is actually how to do simple factorization. 3 rules only. So what do you mean by factorizing? Factorizing meaning that the other way around, meaning that we have something, a term or a number, but we have to use a bracket to factorize it. So we're going to try to use the 3 rules that we have just now. So what is the first rule? We have to find the common factor. What is the common factor between number 3 and 6? Common factor is 3. Okay. Then what do we need to do? Write a bracket. Then what do you need to do? Okay, whatever, everything else inside the bracket. What do you mean by this? It's very easy. Okay, this is my way of doing it. Okay, if you put 3 outside the bracket, how do you know it's actually a common factor, which is a number of multiplication that you can actually get your question back. For example, 3a. Okay, if I put 3 outside the bracket, how do I get 3a? 3 multiplied by a, so I put a here. We got a plus sign here, so we just put a plus sign. Sorry, yeah. Why is jumping there? There you go, plus sign here. Okay, we got a number 3 here. How do I get 6? 3 times 2. There you go. Okay. So the answer is that for this is actually 3, and then you have a bracket a plus 2. Okay, let's try to do quickly. Number 2, you go x squared minus 2x. X squared minus 2x. What is actually the common factor? Okay, common factor, you can see both have x. So I'll just put x as the common factor. Okay, put a bracket. All right, how to get x squared? Of course, x multiplied by x. So inside the bracket will be x. What about this minus sign? Minus sign, there you go. Now, how do I get 2x? X multiplied by 2. There you go. So the trick here is that if you expand the bracket, you will get the question back. For example, yeah, you got, if you were to expand x minus 2, expand it, you got x times x, you got x squared, and you got minus, okay? And then x multiplied by 2, you got 2x. Okay, easy enough, yeah? So we can just 1 minute try to do how many, whatever, yeah? We can try to do as many questions as possible. All right, 3x minus 6x, common factor, of course 3, there you go. Now, how do I get 3x multiplied by x? 3 times x, and then just put the minus sign there. How do I get number 6? 3 times 2. How do I get, oh, okay, so the common factor would be x also. So we have to put x outside, and this would be number 1, yeah? Why? Because the second term, we have x as well. All right, again, how to get number 6? You got 3 times 2. X, you already put it outside, and then we have y. So the answer is, there you go, 3x inside the bracket, 1 minus 2y. I can do one more question here. Okay, what's the common factor between number 2, 3? There's nothing. What about x? So I just put x. Both have x, yeah? So x outside. How to get 2x squared? Multiplied by 2, multiplied by x. There you go. Plus, how to get 3x multiplied by 3? There you go. So the answer is x inside the bracket 2x plus 3. Maybe one more question. Okay, common factor, of course, 5. What else? Is there any x? No, y, because both has y. So you put y outside. And then you got how to get 5xy squared. So you got y here already. So meaning you got x, you put here, and we have to have another y. And then minus 5 times 2, 10. And then you already have y outside, no need to do y. There you go. So this is the only thing that we can do given the time, inshallah. So I do hope you can try to do number 4 and number 5 yourself. Yeah, I will give the answer in my PDF when you try it yourself afterward when you see the video, inshallah. Yeah. Okay, we'll stop here.